I'd like to welcome everybody here tonight. Thank you for coming out to our town board meeting tonight. We're having it over here in our annex building because we felt like there'd be a crowd here. We wanted to make sure everybody had room and were comfortable. This is our new building, by the way. Notice that. I think this is the first meeting that we've had in here since the renovations, and just all the folks that worked on this, they did a great job. We still have a few kinks that we're working out, but I think actually tonight we're approving an application for the community to use this building. So that's going to be on the agenda tonight. But welcome tonight. If you would please join me in a moment of silence before we get started with our meeting. Amen. If you'll please stand with me and face the American flag and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So the first item on our agenda is our conflict of interest policy. I usually have Al Benshoff read this to the board. Al's got a sub here for us today. Al, would you like to head that up for us?
Sure. Pursuant to North Carolina General Statutes, the Town of Mocksville Code of Ethics policy adopted November 9th, 2010, amended January 6, 2019, and further endorsed on August 9th, 2022. I would ask each of you, before you adopt the agenda, if there is any actual potential or perceived conflicts of interest with respect to any matter on the proposed agenda, which will come before the Town Board of Commissioners for consideration and or decision at this meeting. If so, please speak up and let the board know at this time before the agenda is adopted.
Thank you. None being brought up, we will continue on. We need to adopt our agenda. Are there any additions or deletions to tonight's agenda?
Mayor, I'll just make one comment. One of the presentations by our intern, Sean Lane, we will have him come at a later date to do that for us.
Okay, so item 6 under communications, Sean Lane, that will be taken out tonight and that will move to another meeting. Other than that, are there any additions or deletions? To adopt. Motion from Carl. Second. A second from Rob. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Moving on, we have citizen comments. If there's anybody here tonight that would like to speak about anything that's on your mind, about anything about the town or just anything, you can step up to our podium over here. You've got 3 minutes to speak. I didn't see where anybody had signed up back there, but we'll still welcome you to come up and speak if you'd like to. Yes, sir. Just step up there and state your name and.
I'm sorry I failed to sign in there. I'm Bob Eden, and I'm the founder of Liberty Sheds, and there are a lot of familiar faces in here. One of the things that's going to be discussed tonight is the grant that we were given. And I just want to publicly acknowledge and thank Mocksville and Rowan County for the wide arm embrace that you've extended to us as a company. This multi-million-dollar investment that we've made would not have been possible without the teamwork that went into it. And it's just again, I'm deeply grateful and I'm emotional this evening to be here. I found out about this meeting this morning and I said, I want to come here. And I just want to publicly say thank you. And we are so glad to be a part of this community. We are immersing ourselves deeper and deeper into the community. We care deeply about this community and about the people of this community, and we want to serve them. And so again, from the team at Liberty Sheds, thank you to Mocksville and to Davie County. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Eden. It's rare that we get a thank you after the grant, so thank you for doing that for us. Anybody else that would like to speak in public comment? If not, then we'll close out that section. We'll move on to our public hearings. We've got a few public hearings tonight. The first is our budget adoption. I'm going to ask if Lee would like to just make a small presentation.
Thank you, Mayor. To remind commissioners and also to remind our audience, the budget process really began in earnest back in December and January. Lynn, who is our assistant manager and finance director and town clerk, led the charge on this. You have had multiple opportunities to seek and to give feedback on the budget. Our most recent March 25th session allowed us as a team to sort of hone in what we thought we heard you say. And so on May 6th, on behalf of our team, I've officially brought before you a budget message which keeps the tax rate at 29 cents, current 29 cents per $100 evaluation. Our general fund is balanced at $8,484,803, and our water and sewer fund is balanced at $5,949,296. So unless there are questions from our commissioners, Mr. Mayor, you were required on behalf of the commissioners to have a public hearing to offer public comment on the proposed budget.
Okay, thank you. So we'll open our public hearing at this time. If there's anybody here that would like to speak tonight in favor of the budget, you're welcome to come up to the podium. You've got, I think it says 5 minutes to speak. If not, if there's anybody that would like to speak not in favor of the budget. So if there's no speakers for the public hearing, we'll close the public part of the hearing and go to the commissioners. We just need a motion to adopt the fiscal year 25-26 annual budget. So moved. Motion from Johnny. Second from Jenny. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you, Lee. I know you guys worked hard on that. Lynn, thank you for all you did on that. Next item is our public hearing to close out the CDBG Project Night Breakbush Brothers Incorporated Economic Development Project. I'm gonna ask Michael to come up and make that presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. So in March of 2020, the town was awarded a $2 million community development block grant by the North Carolina Department of Commerce Rural Economic Development Division for its Project Night, also known as Breakbush Brothers. This was an infrastructure economic development project, and the funds were designated to assist the town with extending sewer and water lines to the production facility to be located at 251 Upton Road. The company committed to create 244 new full-time jobs. Those sewer and water line extensions are complete. The company is reporting that they have 390 full-time employees, which far exceeds their commitment. Although the state has not conducted a monitoring review of this project, we are wishing to go ahead and hold the closeout public hearing and send the closeout documents to the state and hopefully persuade them to go ahead and do that monitoring visit.
So any questions for Michael on this? So thank you, Michael. If you'd like to stay there, you can, because I know we have another one of these coming up. At this time, we will open up the public hearing. For us to close out a block grant like this, we have to allow the public to come speak either for it or against it. So if there's anybody here that would like to speak about this particular grant, you're welcome to come up to the podium. You have 5 minutes to speak. With none coming up, there's no action needed to be taken by the board at this time because it's closing out a project. So thank you for that. If you would like to move on with the next public hearing.
In October of 2021, the town was awarded a $250,000 community development block grant by the North Carolina Department of Commerce Rural Economic Development Division for its Project Shed, also known as Liberty Storage Solutions. This was also an infrastructure economic development project, and the funds were designed to assist the town with extending a sewer line to serve the company's planned production facility to be located at 224 Industrial Boulevard. It committed to create 28 new full-time jobs while retaining the 30 existing jobs they had in North Carolina. The company is now reporting that they have created the 28 additional new full-time jobs. So they have satisfied their job commitment as it relates to this particular funding. Again, the state has not conducted a monitoring visit on this project, but we're wishing to go ahead and hold the closeout public hearing, submit the closeout.
So again, we'll open up a public hearing. We've already had Mr. Eaton who came up and spoke in favor of this particular grant. I know that he's proud that it came through and that we closed it out. But if there's anybody that would like to speak for it or against it, now's the time to step up to the podium and do so. With none being said, again, there's no action to be taken by the board because we're closing the project. Thank you, Michael, for doing that. And again, thank you for economic development, Terry Brawley and and Michael for applying for these grants and getting them for these businesses to come to town. Lee mentioned at the last board meeting that 40% of our tax base comes from industry, and that's because of businesses like Liberty Sheds that contributes to our tax base so that the residents of Mocksville don't have to pay as much in taxes. So that's great. So thank you for being here and thank you for doing that. Next item on our budget is communications from boards, commissions, and agencies. We have a proclamation tonight for Parks and Grounds Week. Now and we only have one proclamation tonight, so I will, if you'll bear with me, I am going to read the proclamation. Because Parks and Grounds are something that are near and dear to my heart. I just got back from spending a week with my sons in Zion National Park. We don't have a Zion here, but we've got a Cooley River Park, and we've got a Greenway at Rich Park, and we've got lots of great parks here in Davie County. Whereas the Parks and Grounds Department is an integral part of communities throughout this country, including the town of Mocksville. And whereas the Parks and Grounds Department provides a variety of services to our community, such as enhancing the beauty and usability of the town's parks and grounds. Whereas the Parks and Grounds Department is responsible for overseeing the maintenance of all town parks, fields, playgrounds, buildings, town cemetery, and 27 satellite locations. Whereas our parks and grounds provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors. And whereas the efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who staff Parks and Grounds Department is materially influenced by the people's attitude and understanding of the importance of the work they perform. Now therefore, be it resolved that I, Will Markland, Mayor of the town of Mocksville, call upon all citizens, patriotic, civic, and educational organizations to observe the week of June 15th through 21st, 2025 as Parks and Grounds Appreciation Week. Chris, thank you for all that you and your guys do. If you could pass that along to your department, that we appreciate that, and we support all the things that you do out of our parks. Thank you. Next is our Development Finance Initiative. I'm going to ask Eric Thomas with DFI to step up.
For having me here this evening. Thank you all. Tonight I'm going to talk about the site surrounding this property right here, this building. This is the former Energy United Town of Mocksville property. This is the downtown project site feasibility analysis. So I was here a couple months ago to talk about market research and parcel analysis. So tonight I'm going to talk about site analysis and the financial feasibility analysis around the redevelopment of this property. Also part of this evening, I'm going to review the stakeholder feedback that we got from our stakeholder engagement. I'm going to give a high level touch on the market research that we conducted, dive into the site analysis regarding the opportunities and constraints associated with developing this site, touch on the financial feasibility, and then lay out some development recommendations for realizing the redevelopment of this property. I start with some key takeaways, knowing that it's our bottom line up front. What do you want to take away from this? Right now, when looking at the market opportunity for Mocksville, the best opportunity in terms of near-term development of the site is for sale single-family residential. That's what we're seeing within the Mocksville market and Davie County market, and really what developers are looking to do this day right now in Mocksville. A mixed-use multifamily development. I know we've heard a lot from stakeholders about their interest in seeing vertically integrated mixed-use development. Right now, that's a challenging product to develop with a market like Mocksville where rents are a little lower than surrounding region. Town investments in infrastructure, roads, sewer, water, potentially a new town park could support and would support the redevelopment of the site. That's an interest that we've heard from stakeholders also in terms of open space and public amenities. And then town buildings, the education building that we're in, a building on Sanford Ave that the town owns, the Chamber of Commerce just next door. Those, although they're wonderful buildings, they do limit the potential developable area of this site and offer some constraints when thinking about the redevelopment potential of this area. And I'll touch on all these details a little more through this presentation. So project overview, DFI, we are a program out of UNC Chapel Hill School of Government. We've been around for about 12 years, 13 years, helping local governments make informed decisions on real estate development projects. We act as private developers, but we sit on the side of the table of local governments. Our process includes stakeholder input. So what is the community hoping to see in terms of real estate development projects? What is the market support? So market analysis to understand really what is the supply and demand for certain product types within the community. We do site analysis. For this project, we did a high-level site analysis, understanding really the development potential of this site based on topography, building footprints, setbacks, et cetera. And then we layer in financial feasibility. So what are those costs? What are the financing assumptions? What are the projected rents that we believe we could achieve within this market to determine if there's a feasibility analysis? We layer in legal tools that the local government has to participate in deals to see if that can make a project more feasible. And then we put all that together to come up with final recommendations for the development of this project site. So giving a little bit of details about the project site, I know you all are very familiar with it, but those that aren't as familiar with this project site, this is outlined in yellow. It's a little over 5 acres, 8,000 square feet of buildings and 2 buildings. This is one of those. The town acquired this property in 2024 for about $2 million. This was state funds that were appropriated for the acquisition of this site. The Mocksville Farmers Market is on the site. It is town center zoning. And then other notes, there was a former mill on the property just north of here. It was demolished in 2023. And that currently the town is leasing a portion of the property back to Energy United for the electric pole storage. So what did we hear from stakeholders in terms of the development interests of this site? One is increased housing stock. This is really something we've heard from a lot of stakeholders of how do we get more residential within Mocksville? Desire for more downtown rental and for sale units. There's a belief, and I think we believe this here at DFI also, that more residential units in your downtown core will go a long way in supporting the businesses that you have in the downtown core. And so more bedrooms, more warm bodies in downtown will support those businesses that you have on your main street. Expand retail space. We know there's a thriving commercial corridor in Mocksville, but it's one corridor. Can you expand your downtown core over to Salisbury Street? So we heard that a lot from stakeholders is, can we get some new quality retail space in downtown and also expand our boundaries and our borders of our commercial? And then a third main interest that we heard from the stakeholders is increasing public open space. We know the Main Street Park, the Farmers Market, and there's a small town-owned parking lot really are these key public amenities in your downtown core. What we heard is sidewalk streetscapes along West Depot and Salisbury Street, increasing public parking options, and then potentially establishing a park or public gathering spot would be really critical to supporting the growth of downtown Mocksville. You all have heard this. I'm gonna just recap our market analysis also. We looked at office. Right now, office product is very uncertain. Work from home, hybrid, there's not a lot of office products, particularly speculative office where a developer will come in and build and hope to find tenants to fill that space. There's not a lot of that product getting built anywhere, even in Durham, Raleigh, Chapel Hill. Those products are hard to get financed right now. The newest product of office, though, in this market is built to suit and closer to the highway. That's going to be your medical office where you really have a specific tenant in mind that you're filling that space with. In our analysis, the rents in downtown for office product, they're lower than by the highway, and that makes sense, higher traffic, but about average of $12 a square foot for office product in downtown, highway closer to $18 a square foot on average. Rents make a big difference when we think about our feasibility analysis for this site. Retail. Right now, there's very constrained retail space in your downtown core. We studied downtown, we've worked with the Main Street. 2% of storefronts are vacant. There's been some turnover, but it's very minimal vacancy in your downtown. There's really 3 types of products. You have your historic Court Square product, you have your strip malls on US 601, and then our project site on North Salisbury Street, that's that third image, a little bit more of off the beaten track and less sort of investment in those properties. But we're seeing rents in downtown, they average right now about $10 a square foot. Again, closer to I-40, the corridors out to the highway, about $18 a square foot. Something worth noting, the desire for retail on this project site, we get it. We want to really think about drawing people down here, but it is off that Main Street corridor. So thinking about how to bring people down off of an established commercial corridor will be something you all as a town will have to think about, potential public tools and strategic investments to bring people off of the courthouse square and over to Salisbury Street. Multifamily. We looked at multifamily across Davie County, and right now the demand for a multifamily product, this is a rental product, is primarily being driven by proximity to Winston-Salem. So the newest product that we're seeing within the market, that top right image is Ariston Place in Bermuda Run, a recently completed development, opened in 2024. It's 100% leased. That's an incredible sign for a development that it's successful. Right now, the rents on this product in Bermuda Run are averaging $1.90 a square foot. And this is from a conversation with the developer. Right now, rents in downtown Mocksville for the few limited upper floors that we have of multifamily are closer to about $1.25 a square foot. And so when you think about, these are not great comparison of products. It is the multifamily that you have in Mocksville, but rents would have to get to those thresholds in order to justify the cost of development like you have in Bermuda Run. And then single family. The demand for single family is high in Mocksville and Davie County right now. We know there's several large developments that are under construction, pricing between $350,000 and $450,000. We know there's several that are considered in the rezoning process and annexation process also. When thinking about single family for sale product, this is a downtown project site. We're not thinking about large scale lots that would take up a ton of land. You would get minimal home sites. This would be potentially townhomes, higher density single family residential for sale. We spoke with several developers that do townhome projects that expressed significant interest in downtown Mocksville as a location for townhome development. So there are no townhomes in Mocksville right now, but talking to developers, they would be interested in this site for townhomes. So that's the market analysis recap. I'm going to go now into our site and financial summary. So this is our project site in orange. The Chamber of Commerce is about 0.6 acres in blue. So the orange area is 5.1 acres. There are the building footprints of the demo mills are hatched out. And then you have the Davie, let me see if actually, sorry. Would love to be able to laser point on this, but that's okay. So total, when you think about the Chamber of Commerce property, you're about 5.6, 5.7 acres of property in this area. There's some critical infrastructure that runs through the site. You do have water and sewer lines that essentially divide the southern portion of the site, which do limit the potential for development to occur in those areas. You can't put building footprints on top of the sewer and water lines, but you can put parking and roads. So in terms of some considerations that you have is you have major infrastructure running through this property. You have the public buildings that are in use on the site. The Mocksville Education Building, that is the second turquoise box there along South Salisbury Street. You have the Davie County Chamber of Commerce Building just north of that. And then you have the office building on Sanford Avenue, which is currently being used for town storage and for farmers market uses. That is on the southwest portion of the site. So those three properties right there with their supportive parking do take up a significant chunk of this site that we studied. We heard a desire for a downtown park as part of the plan for this site. We studied multiple downtown parks within North Carolina as part of our case study research. We found downtown comparable parks between 0.75 and 5 acres. Right here in the green box, we're just showing a hypothetical 1 acre park on this site right here and how that could relate to both infrastructure and also the buildings that you currently have on site. So when taking into consideration all these components, here's what's left to develop on this site. You have approximately 1.6 acres surrounding the Chamber of Commerce. So really when you look at this, it's about 2 acres of buildable area outside of the infrastructure, outside of the buildings. Our take on this, and speaking with developers, is that this roughly 2 acres of area is very challenged for a multifamily development to occur on this site. It would be a very small program that could be accomplished and not really attractive for private developers to take on a project of that scale. And that's why when we talk about our development scenarios, we took into consideration using some of these building footprints and sites as part of the development program in our assessment. However, when thinking about these uses that are currently out there, a townhome development could be accommodated while keeping these current public uses in their place. So the development scenarios that we studied. We first looked at a mixed-use multifamily scenario. I don't want to get too tied to design. These are conceptual studies in order to understand program potential and the financial feasibility, knowing that this is early on. Ultimately, if this was a program that were to be developed, an architect would come on with a developer to really refine a program. This is more of a test fit to understand financial feasibility. What you're looking at in this concept is a 0.75 acre park to the northern end of the site. This yellow-red building is a mixed-use multifamily building. The yellow would be residential units. The red area would be ground floor retail in this portion of the building. Right here, you're looking at about 180 multifamily units, and this would be a 4-story building. 10,000 square feet of ground floor retail and approximately 270 parking spaces in the back. Why this is 180 multifamily units? Developers are typically target 200 units as a development program. We're trying to figure out how to get a program that would be attractive to a developer to do on this site. And so what does that mean? I'm gonna jump back. Oh, maybe that slide is no longer there, but this takes away this building, the Chamber of Commerce building, and the Sanford Avenue building in order to accomplish a program of this size and scale. Not saying that you all are gonna do that, it's just that you would need these sites in order to accommodate a program of this size. This, however, does accommodate the sewer and water infrastructure that you currently have on the site. That's essentially where the parking and the road access onto South Salisbury Street is located. What you're looking at here, we estimated the land value of about $1.8 million, that's $10,000 per unit, and total private development costs of roughly $50 million, that's $280,000 per unit. In this scenario, with these financial assumptions that were plugged in, we feel that rents would have to be closer to about $2.15 a square foot. So that's above what Bermuda Run rents are currently in order to get those investor return rates that a developer would need to see in order to get a project financed. We modeled a 7% yield on cost, which essentially is how much income can a project to have come in versus how much it costs to develop. The retail rents in this scenario would need to be between $28 and $30 in order to support the development also. We did model in this development program and this financial feasibility that if the town were to participate in site preparation, so prepping this site, doing the selective demolition prior to selling the property to developer, would that make that this project attractive to the development community? It still doesn't hit those returns that we believe would be attractive to a development partner right now. And so thinking about what tools you have at your disposal to support the development, this is a hard one just based on current costs, interest rates to really see the project getting financed right now from a private developer. We looked at another scenario, and this is a townhome development scenario. The white boxes are townhomes, and then you do have essentially a new road running north to south from Sanford Ave up north. This is approximately 50 townhomes and 5,000 square feet of retail space, and you do have that town park with an amphitheater at the core of the development of the site. Again, extending West Depot Street down into the site. This does preserve the Chamber of Commerce building, and it does preserve the education building in its current place with parking that are currently around this site. In this scenario, we estimate the land acquisition, so what a developer would pay to you all the town to acquire the property to build these private development components at approximately $850,000. That's $15,000 per lot for the townhomes. And these is essentially raw land, knowing that you would have to build roads, build infrastructure throughout the site. We assume that to be the private developer's costs. And total private development costs at $19 million. That's $17 million for the townhomes and $2 million for the retail. In this scenario, with that site infrastructure, with the demolition costs of the buildings, with the site prep, we believe that the townhomes would need to sell for approximately $400,000 in order to justify the cost of development. And again, the retail piece of that, those rents would need to be in that $28 to $30 in order to justify the cost of what it is to build retail today. So when looking at the financial feasibility for the development of the site, right now, the multifamily and retail components, they're constrained based on the current rents that we see within Mocksville. That being said, we've seen other developments in communities where the rents are low, they build a new product, you're essentially the first mover in the community and you can get these premiums. We don't know if a developer could get premiums above what are being achieved in Bermuda Run right now, or a developer, a local champion that would say, hey, I'm willing to take much less returns on this project than would be typically see within the development community, and willing to hold this property long-term, willing to take minimal returns on their project, and willing to do this project to be a local champion. So I don't want to come out here and say that a multifamily mixed-use project isn't going to happen, because you could have the right partner within your community to do this project. It's just putting out to a broad pool of development community. It'd be hard to find a partner right now, I believe, to make this project pencil out and get investment. The for sale residential, though, I believe is the most viable for near-term development of this site. And also, if the town were to complete the road infrastructure, say the new road running through the site, if that was part of your development strategy for the site, and potentially a park with an amphitheater, that would make the site much more attractive for the private developers to come in and do this project, knowing you have public investment coming alongside private investment and really making it a more dynamic development site. So that was the financial feasibility. I want to talk about some of the development considerations for you all. And this is maybe going to leave you all a little hanging of what to do next. But right now, this is one of the largest collectively owned set of parcels in your downtown Mocksville. It's a very unique development site when you think about your long-term trajectory of Mocksville. Something to think about is, are there additional parcels that you could acquire to make the site even larger to get more of a development program? Would you be willing to locate? I know you just recently invested in this, and maybe it's off the table right now, but would you be willing to relocate public uses from this site to other locations, or combine strategically to unlock more area to develop? And then what is your preferred development program? Is it a realize the opportunity that is today with maybe more of a for sale product, or wait longer term, hold on to this, prep the site, and maybe wait for conditions in the development community to be more suitable, and then try to target that development program that you really want to see happen in that time? So it's sort of a wait or strike while the iron is hot for a for sale product today, or hold off and wait till you maybe can accomplish something that's more in line with what you hope to achieve. Another development consideration is the town completing the park with the amphitheater, the roads, and the water and sewer does make the private investment and private development more attractive in this site. Something that I'm not going to go deep on tonight with you all, and I know we've talked about this a little bit previously, is you want to have the legal authority to select the best partner for you to realize development on this site. And something that you'll have to be able to select a preferred partner is a public facility as part of the development program. Without that, you'd have to put the property out to bid, because it's market rate housing that would come out on this site. And so you want to have a preferred partner. That would mean you would have to have a development agreement and include a public facility as part of that. And that's where that park and amphitheater is an idea and a concept that is worth investigating, because that could count for that. So you'd have the legal authority to select a partner of your choosing for the development project that has the experience to do the project, that has the financial backing, and also can execute in a time frame that you want to see this project happen. Also, when thinking about these potential public investments along with private investments, the coordination of design and construction is really critical. Thinking about efficiency, you wouldn't ever want to have to do something, one step of your project, and then have it be done again or not in coordination with a partner that it would be doing development on the other side of this site. So coordination for efficiency would be really worth having both partners at the table at the same time. And that's something else to think about is this site right here, its location on Salisbury Street. Is there a way to think about this site being better connected to Courthouse Square, sidewalks, street trees, lighting, better connectivity? Thinking of ways to draw people from the active downtown core over to the site is definitely worth investigating as a next step when thinking about how to better set up the site for redevelopment. So when thinking about the potential next steps for the development of the site is, one, evaluating the opportunity for additional site acquisition in the property area, the project area, thinking about the ability to maybe gain options to expand development opportunity. Two is, if park planning is a desire to see a park on the site, initiate that park planning process. What is your preferred program? What is a budget for that? Just so you can start to think about these pieces so that you don't get pigeonholed later on. We say, we want to see a development happen out here. We have a developer, but now we don't have enough land to accomplish our park goals for our downtown. 3 would be evaluating the water and the sewer infrastructure, rerouting around the site. Is this possible? Does it have potential? Is there budget for that to unlock more of this area to have development occur on? And then 4 would be determining that preferred private development program for the site. So what are you all hoping to achieve, knowing that you have more of a near-term opportunity versus maybe holding out for a longer-term opportunity that is more in line with your vision? So with that, I know that was quick, but I want to leave time for questions for you all to me about any of this analysis or any of these numbers that were presented tonight.
Any questions from the board?
I do have a question. For the townhomes that you were saying that could be, where the parking spaces were, that was for the people that buy the townhomes, but would it be parking for anybody to get to the amphitheater and the park? I couldn't tell that.
Yeah, and again, this high level concept, there's some parking east of the townhomes on this street going vertically north to south. Again, I think at a high level, there's some parking to support the retail, enough for that. The plan may have to shift slightly to accommodate some more parking and decrease the size of a park to accommodate more parking. I think that'd be working closely with you all to say how much parking is needed for your downtown park. What is that program that's desired? But it may, you may have to take out a couple of townhomes to get more parking there. That'd be worked out at a later date. But yes, all based on what you all would hope to see in terms of number of parking spaces for a downtown park.
Any other questions? Eric, I appreciate you coming. I know that we kind of met with you individually, and they've asked questions there. And
Yeah.
I think we have in our mind a plan, and we'll discuss some more in the future about what we want to do going forward.
Yeah.
So I appreciate all that you've done. And Lee, is there anything else that we need to do as far as wrapping this up, or?
Nothing as it relates to DFI.
Okay.
Right. Well, thank you for your time and working on this project.
Thank you.
I've got that.
So I know this is a big part of our town, and it's a big footprint in town, and we're wanting to do the right thing as a board, as a town leader. So we will make the right decision. Thank you. Next on our agenda, we have Irene Tyson, Director of Planning, Associate with, is that right? I think she's going to come up and make a presentation to us.
While she's prepping that, Mayor, I will say, in Eric's presentation, there have been ongoing comments about how do we begin the process of taking Main Street and marrying it up with the town's investment for the former Energy United property. And so I asked Irene if she could come to talk to you all about what a downtown master plan may look like, and utilizing what we've learned from DFI as a component to being more holistic in our thought process for redevelopment of the whole area. So I don't want to speak too much, but that's the reason why you're here, and I'm grateful that you're here to talk to us a little bit.
Thank you. So Mayor and Commissioners, very happy to be here tonight. We were trying to decide, Davey, about 6 years ago. It's the last time that I was here working in Mocksville, so it's really wonderful to be back here. So Lee did give me 3 things I needed to cover here. So one was, what is a downtown master plan? Why should you do a downtown master plan? And then how do you implement a downtown master plan? So, and in just a few minutes, he was kind of blown away by the number of slides I have, but I'm a fast talker and fast switcher here, so we'll see what we can do. So what is a downtown master plan? How many of you have ever participated in a downtown master planning process? Anybody done? Okay, all right, we've got one hand here, that's wonderful. Well, I'll tell you one thing that it is not. A downtown master plan is not a comprehensive plan. A comprehensive plan is a wonderful thing. It is legislative, and it really focuses on the existing conditions and projections and priority investments for what the kind of a good snapshot of the town and where you want to go. And it's wonderful. But a master plan really takes that several steps further. I do want to say that the town of Mocksville is in a very unique and very strategic time right now, because you need to update your comprehensive plan, and then you have a really wonderful opportunity to do a downtown master plan. Thank you, Eric, for that tea up there, to talk about the value of this. And what makes it so unique for y'all being at this position is to be able to really update comp plan and do a downtown master plan at the same time. Both of these processes rely a lot on engaging the community. And I know that Eric engaged the community in his process. This goes a little bit broader. It would, and really not focusing just on this site, but really looking at downtown and the entire city. So it really is a wonderful opportunity for you. I'm going to leave this with Lee too, so I'm not going to read the slides here, but I will say the great thing about the master plan is it paints the picture for you. And the master plan is based on community input. It's based on a lot of data. And we have here talking about, the different things that the master plan is. And it really is a roadmap for your preferred future. The worst thing that can happen is for you to have a master plan, or even, a comp plan is not necessarily something that you go out and do. It is a policy guideline for you. As the town makes investments, it is that guideline. A master plan is something that you go out and you do and you implement. So it is data driven. It gives you a very good competitive edge when you go out and you're trying to get other grants, to get private investments, because you can say, this is what the community wants, and here's a vision of what it can look like and the value of this. So lots of great benefits to a downtown master plan. It is also a very specific process. I feel that the most important process in a downtown master plan is that research analysis and engaging the community. It's very important to get people from across the community at the table. And one of our favorite things to do is, well, let me ask you, have y'all ever had meetings where people didn't agree? 11. Okay, great. Have any of y'all ever been to meetings like that where no one agrees? Well, one of the beauties of doing a master plan is you get people at the table and you all have to listen to each other. And whoever is doing, kind of facilitating that master plan is facilitating these conversations. And while you may not all agree, if the value of it is you're going to reach some level of consensus. And one of my greatest joys is at the end of the day, when you're presenting a final master plan, that everyone who participated can say, that came from me. That's my idea. I may not still like this. And y'all, I've got a real tough challenge right now because we're doing a downtown master plan for Waxhaw, and I have got to find a place for a pink unicorn. So there are a bunch of little girls who want a pink unicorn in downtown Waxhaw. We're going to find a place for that in there. So we got to listen to everybody. But that is the most important process, is to engage the community and to engage the youth. Nothing about all of us. I'm on the other side of 60. I hope I'm going to be around in my community for a very long time. But Lee told me today that he hopes his daughter is going to be able to come back here and teach school. So master plans really are a great investment to making sure that Mocksville is going to be a wonderful place for your children and your grandchildren to come back here to live and to prosper. And so engaging the youth, going into the junior high, the middle schools and into the high schools is very, very important with that whole process. Then we go into doing a draft master plan, getting community input from all of that, and then you present the final master plan. And again, I'll talk a little bit more about implementation, but implementation is key to all of this. A downtown master plan succeeds when you define the boundaries, because, and downtown is very important. To me, it's like the town of Mocksville is like a solar system, and downtown is the sun, and it's where the center of gravity is. Because if your downtown is healthy, if your downtown is prosperous, then the rest of the town stands a much better chance to be prosperous and to be thriving too as well. So defining what that downtown area is very important. And that's, again, it's not to say that the rest of the town is not important, because it is. But again, to go back to that, if y'all were doing a downtown master plan at the same time as you're updating your comp plan, you're gonna be addressing the whole town at large, also with the focus. And so they all, it's a both and, you know, when you do that process. And again, it's all about strengthening the core. I usually tell people, anybody here do Pilates? Okay, oh, good. All right, what's the purpose of Pilates?
Core strength.
Core strength. So this is what I like to call, downtown master plans are called Pilates of place. So that's what you're doing when you do a downtown master plan. You are doing Pilates of place and strengthening your core with that. All right, so why is it important? One of my favorite movies is Apollo 13. Anybody like Apollo 13? I just don't get tired of watching that. And that real critical moment when they say, Houston, we have a problem. And they don't know what to do, right? So what do? They have all the smart people and everybody down in Houston and the engineers trying to figure out, and they're saying, okay, we have this. This is all we have to get everybody safely home. I think this is just what downtown master planning is. And there's a great quote here about authenticity, because the downtown master plan is all about being authentic. Mocksville has its own stuff that's on that table, right? You have your own unique things. I just found out today that LeBlue, did I say it right? Water comes from here, yeah, okay. Y'all have got these wonderful assets that are right here in the community. That's where you need to look. Ed McMahon, who is a friend of mine and a ULI, that's the Urban Land Institute fellow, says that successful communities capitalize on their distinctive, authentic assets. Their architecture, their history, the natural surroundings, and homegrown businesses, rather than trying to adopt a new and different identity. That's what you have to do. That's what those astronauts had to do. They had to take exactly what they had and make something wonderful out of it. You have assets that are incredibly enviable here. And so that's what a downtown master plan can help you do, is to really help you see those assets and to capitalize on that. Not to try to be some other town that I don't, everybody has, I live in Columbia, South Carolina. Everybody's like, well, we want to be Charleston. Well, we want to be Greenville. Well, no, we're going to be Columbia, or we're going to be Mocksville, whatever. And that's what's important. And then downtown master plans will create a vision and a plan for investments in your community to elevate and sustain prosperity and the quality of life. To go back to what Eric is presenting here, if you have a downtown master plan and you've illustrated that vision, and again, it has a lot of data to support that vision, to be able to show that to potential investors, to potential developers, to show that you're not only focusing on that piece of property, but this really is going to be a game changer and influence the entire town. Everyone is going to benefit from it. So that's what you're able to do with that downtown master plan. I like to play around with letters, so today's the letter P, okay? So, but this is the other thing that it does. You're able to engage the public. You're going to enhance placemaking. You already have some wonderful, beautiful places. Your square. Lee and I walked around downtown today, and it is just charming. So how can you up the game on placemaking there? Changing perspectives, identifying the potential, reaching consensus on what the preferred future is. Again, you're not going to make everybody happy, but if we can all say, okay, we're all going to get on the same bus, and we're going to go there. And we all may wear different clothes. We all may bring different snacks. We all might want to listen to different music, but we're all heading in the right direction here. And then in the very end, everything you do here is about elevating prosperity, period. You've got to make sure that Mocksville remains a prosperous place for people to live. And so anyway, I'm not gonna dwell too much on this because I've already talked about this, but why do you do that, master planning? I think the most important thing is it provides that framework for your elected leaders and for all of you as residents and community volunteers and potential stakeholders and investors. It provides that framework to say, this is where we're going, and these are some ideas about how we're gonna get there. The Brookings report, this is an old quote, but I still love it because it said, strong leadership is absolutely essential. Success requires vision and planning. You're all in it together. Place matters. Now you've got to take advantage of it. And leadership is not just the elected leadership. Y'all are very important. You set the tone. You're going to get the ball rolling here. But it's also those who live here and those who volunteer, the leadership here, to the business community. That's very important to, again, capitalize on your place and to take advantage of that. I think one of the most important things that Downtown Master Plan can do is change perspectives. All right, how many of you have flown through Atlanta? Does anybody here fly through Atlanta? Okay, somebody told me a long, long time ago that all Southerners are gonna have to fly through Atlanta to get to heaven. Now since then, some might go the Charlotte route, but you know, that's okay. But all right, how many of you have walked and changing terminals have gone on that whatever, the tunnel? A few there? Okay. All right, so it's fine. It gets the job done, right? It gets you from one place. You can get on the moving, you know, what do they call it? Moving, yeah, the moving sidewalk. Or you can run and not get on that, you know, so it's fun. Or one terminal over, or you can do this. Now, which would you rather have? What's a better experience? What is a really more enjoyable place? This is one terminal over. That's what it is about changing perspectives. You can have some type of development that happens here. You can check all the boxes to make sure the developer is going to make some money and it's going to add to the tax revenues here. You can do that, or you can really make it something special. And I think that's, you know, again, where Eric is going with all of this, and, you know, get community input on this. But it's got to represent the town's values. The other thing about changing perspectives, you know, alleyways, and that's where placemaking come in. Somebody can see like, it's an empty lot, it's an ugly alley, but you can change perspectives here. You can make them become beautiful places that people enjoy. All right, everybody, John Norquist, who used to be the mayor of Milwaukee years ago, used to challenge his planning staff. They would come to him and say, oh, here's a project that some developers have brought us that they want to do. Here's a design from this architect. And he would look at it and he would say, would you put it on a postcard? And if you wouldn't put it on a postcard for the city of Milwaukee, he's like, then we're not doing it. And I think you can ask the same thing of you when you start looking at new development. And now it's not put it on a postcard. Nobody sends postcards anymore. It's like, can we have an Instagrammable moment here, right? Because that's what that's why you have so many murals. But that's something to think about, because again, you can have a great development or you can have a unique Mocksville development, something that really represents your community values there. And just some other things. You know, streets and sidewalks can become really wonderful. And I know your main street is a DOT road, right? The worst, you've probably run into this many times when we go in so many communities. Well, let's do something here. We can't. DOT won't let us. We hear that all the time, that DOT won't let us. DOT is an amazing organization. We desperately need them. DOT does have some creative genes in them, you know, and some cells in there if you work with them. You know, crosswalks can become something that's uniquely Mocksville. You know, even, or your town roads. So again, don't just think, oh, we're just going to paint a crosswalk. Well, can it become something special? So again, changing perspectives. And, you know, murals. I know y'all have a couple of murals here. Oh, I do have to show y'all this one. Have any of y'all ever been to Austin? Yeah, Austin is such a great place. This is in South Congress. That's actually one of my daughters and her husband. This is a tiny little coffee shop on one of the main drags in Austin. the owners of it just painted, "I love you so much." People now stand in line for over an hour here to have their picture made, and "I love you so much." And I'm one of those who did it, and I had to do it. But they can buy a little coffee while they're sitting there. There's an ice cream shop across the street. It really helps building. So very simple gestures that you can do. Okay. The other way to change perspectives, and Eric, you talked about this in your what you learned from the public here. When we start doing downtown master plans, one of the things we hear over and over again is we want a walkable community. We want to be able to walk downtown from wherever we live. We want to be able to ride our bikes. We want to make it safe. We want, improve connectivity, which is wonderful. The best way to change perspectives and to really test people is do walkabouts. We do this when we start our master planning processes. We'll come into downtown, we'll invite people, come do a walkabout with us in the daytime, at nighttime, and walk around where people you say you want to do. How many of y'all walk around downtown from where you live? Do y'all walk from where you live? Or can you? Or just walk around? See, it's great. I mean, it felt very comfortable walking around down there. But once people actually start walking around, you see, or even pushing a stroller, or you have someone in a wheelchair, or someone who is slight hindered, that's changing your perspectives there of what downtown could be and making plans to improve. And we've talked about this a lot. Engaging people, again, is one of the most important things you can do. Engaging people does not mean having 3 meetings and just inviting them to come here when it's convenient for you or the team. Engaging people, you've got to do that. I mean, that's wonderful, but you also have to go where people are. Are there festivals that you could take advantage of and have some public engagement here? We've developed this thing. I don't know if y'all can see over here the tree with all the Post-its. We call that our wishing tree, and it's just really fun because everybody can come up and stick a Post-it note of what they want, because a lot of people don't feel comfortable speaking up in public meetings, and so this is just a really fun way for people to give their comments. We have families that'll write on whiteboards, I love whatever about the town of Mocksville. So again, engaging people and going to where people are to get their input is very important with that. And doing online surveys too, and we'll have hard copies, but trying to, I'm a good Methodist. Anybody here a good Methodist? I know Davey is. Charles Wesley always says that you do all the good you can, all the ways you can, to all the people you can. And Davey, you're as much as you possibly can. I always try to, because again, when you're trying to engage the public, you want to do it in as many ways as you can to reach as many people as you can, because every voice is important. Okay. And then I'm just going to show y'all a couple of examples from the city of Hartsville in South Carolina. We just wrapped up this master plan. And again, a master plan really talks about potential and then the prosperity. We're looking at infrastructure too. We're looking at water and sewer. We're looking at sidewalks. We're looking at roads. We're looking at landscape, all of those different types of infrastructure that come together. Hartsville had a vision, has a vision for their master plan that is One Hartsville. They were, and still are, but they're kind of a divided community because they have very much a white side and then a historic area that is not, has a lot of lack of investments in it. How can they become One Hartsville? And a lot of that has to do with infrastructure. How can we use streets and sidewalks to begin to weave all the different parts of towns together, of the town together, and do other things? We do site planning, and again, we do like to look at housing. We do market and retail studies, and anybody who's doing a master plan is going to do this. But you're looking at market studies, you're looking at retail, you're looking at housing, you're looking at zoning and design, and again, what all the different assets were. The city of Hartsville owned 2 pretty significant large properties that are empty, vacant right now. And so we showed, again, the different types of housing that the market would bear there. And again, going back to what Eric was talking about, we really do have to pay attention to that. It's one thing to say, oh, we want single family housing, oh, we want townhouses. You got to back that up with the data. And so we show that, And, am I getting in the way? And then we paint that picture for them. To show that, you know, this is a vacant lot right now that the city owns. How can we, and what we like to do too is it's not about housing, it's about creating neighborhoods. Because neighborhoods are what build community and having prosperous neighborhoods. So again, we can paint that picture for them about this is what it could look like. Beginning to give some architectural scale. This is actually one of the streets that is going to serve as that bridge between some of the neighborhoods that feel a little bit different, disenfranchised, but making that, and this is something they can do right now, but putting the investments in sidewalks and in trees and in banners and, you know, in some of the historic buildings that are there. This other site that is in the city is on right next to downtown, and it is a great opportunity. They have Coker University, the Governor's School for Science and Math there. They have a vibrant downtown, but they need housing for all levels. They need some entertainment, you know, some things to do downtown and some restaurants. So we're showing them, because again, to go back, this is all empty right now, but how you can begin to bring in that mixed development. And now the market did show that they can support mixed development, you know, having the retail on the bottom or the offices on the bottom, restaurants, and then housing on top. And again, when this is built out, it may look nothing like this, but what you can begin to do is to show some potential investors, to show, you know, developers or even the community that this is possible here. And then that's just another view of the same street. That's there. All right, implementation. And I'm gonna cover this quickly. If the thing that brings me the greatest joy and anyone who does a downtown master plan is to walk into the city manager's or the town manager's office and to see that master plan document sitting on the desk, dog-eared, yellow stickies, torn up, and I mean and put to use. Implementing a master plan is one of the greatest things that you can do as town leaders to elevate public trust, because a master plan is an investment, and implementing what, you know, the people said that they wanted, what the data showed, really and truly is a way to say, we believe in the future and we're going to start making it happen. The city of Inman is in Spartanburg County, and they said, we just want to redo the parking and fix up some buildings downtown. There's an abandoned rail that goes right through the town. They saw it as an eyesore. When the master plan was over, we said, you're going to do this rail trail that goes from the city of Spartanburg all the way up past Tryon in North Carolina. It's 38 miles. And Inman is going to be the trailhead. And they're like, we can't do that, so we have to start doing this. It's going to take a long time because, you know, dealing with railroads is laborious sometimes. I want you to know that it's going to be called the Slough to Grade Trail. The funding is in place. All the players are on board, and they're starting. It's probably still going to be a year and a half or two before they start construction. But the Slough to Grade Trail is going to happen. And I don't know if y'all are familiar with the Swamp Rabbit Trail and from Greenville to Travelers Rest, you know, what an economic boon it has been. This is going to rival that. But again, a perspective, because they saw it as an eyesore, and now they see it truly as it's going to be such an economic asset for them in a long time. But I do want to show this is because it's not just drawings. It's not just market and retail studies. There's a framework that is very important for implementation to happen. You have to make sure that the town's policies, ordinances, match, you know, are there to support. And if they don't support what the vision is, then do some updating and make it happen. You have to make sure that you have the capacity, staff, and also community leaders in order to make this happen as well. And then to have the financial support that comes in different ways. I love this one. Bishopville is a small little town in South Carolina. One of the people in our said this: if we don't invest, we'll keep getting people who retire here to live in the middle of nowhere and want to do nothing. I don't know if y'all got, this is a beautiful little town, but people from other places saw cheap real estate or buy, and they just come and they don't do anything. So again, you want to make this investment so that your children and your grandchildren are gonna wanna come back here and have really wonderful lives that are here, so. But we do come up with an implementation framework. And again, you have to look at organizational capacity with that. Again, you've got the drawings, you've got the retail, all the data, but you've got to have the capacity in order to make it happen. It's not all on the town. It is a lot. It's the town collectively, not just the town staff and the town elected leaders on that. We come up with economic development strategies. And then I'm going to just go through this very quickly because one of the things that we provide is a checklist. I had one town manager who called when it's all said and done. He goes, give me my to-do list. And so we give you the to-do list that says, okay, the next 3 months, in a year, in 2 years, but you have to start the first domino falling in order for it to happen. Again, public trust. The town of Lexington in South Carolina, in order to implement their master plan and to keep it in front of everyone, it still is a recurring agenda item, 12 years later, a recurring agenda item for every town meeting. It's a vision plan update. And so that just makes sure that it is going to stay in front of everyone. And sometimes it might be, well, we have nothing to report, or it may be that we put up a job sign for a new project. But again, just having that to-do list and making it just a recurring agenda item for what you're going to do. So again, having this this kind of checklist, that's the framework, and then also looking at what programs, what federal programs, state programs, and other resources might be available to tap into. And even assigning, the one thing that this does, it can even assign, this one doesn't do it, but sometimes, so who's responsible for this? If it is, it may be that you have a civic organization that needs to be more responsible for making something happen in the downtown master plan. It may be that it is just Lee's position, responsibility to get the ball rolling. But anyway, assigning that is somebody who needs to shepherd it through. So in the end, and I would say too, that as you work on a downtown master plan, that you work hard to implement and you celebrate each and every success and no matter how small, of the projects that you do implement. And I just want to leave you with this because I love this quote where he says, when we build, let us think that we build forever. Let it not be for present delight or present use alone. Let it be such work as our descendants will thank us for. And let us think as we lay stone upon stone that a time is to come when those stones will be held sacred because our hands have touched them, and that men will say, as they look upon the labor and wrought substance of them, see, this our fathers and our mothers did for us. And that's really what a master plan is all about. It is making some decisions to do the hard work now so that years from now, people can look back and say, wow, look what they did for us. Let's keep it going. So there's the value of a master plan. Y'all are in a wonderful place in order to do one. And I'm happy to answer any questions about master planning if you have anything.
Try Irene.
Okay, great.
Irene,
Thank you.
thank you. I think you've set us up for greatness. So thank you. Okay, moving along with our agenda tonight, we have our consent agenda to adopt minutes and adopt town monthly financials, monthly tax releases, and adoption of monthly constitution-based capital.
Move that we adopt each.
So we have a motion from Rob and a second from Carl. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That passes. There's no old business tonight. Looking under new business, consider adopting a budget amendment number 5, the enterprise fund. Lynn.
Yes, Mayor and Commissioners, we just have a couple more budget amendments for the end of the year, being the enterprise fund in the amount of $68,000.
questions for Lynn on this amendment? Not, we just need a motion to adopt. So. Motion, Justin, a second from Jenny. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. And the last item is to consider adopting a budget amendment number 6 for the general fund. Lynn?
Yes, and this, budget, amendment for general fund ends the year in the amount of $60,000.
Questions for Lynn on this budget amendment?
Motion to adopt.
Motion from Rob, second from Carl. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Moving on to communications from the town staff. Al, we usually have Al Benshoff when he's here, if he's got anything he wants to say. Do you have anything you would like to say to him?
I'll just say, I've been through Mocksville a few times. I used to live in Winston. What was presented to you is so valuable. I think about all the places that have what we call charm. And one little town, I'm from near a place called Greenville, North Carolina. When you travel now and say Greenville, folks in North Carolina kind of know what you're talking about, but now this in the state, they're thinking the other one. And it used to be the reverse. Greenville, South Carolina was way smaller and less well-known than Greenville, North Carolina. A college in Greenville, North Carolina swallows the college in South Carolina, but everybody around the place knows about the other one. And it was because when I was a young kid, they did this right here in Greenville, and now it's a destination spot. And they got a big employer that came, BMW. Nobody even knew what BMWs were. They're strange cars for strange people, but they came. And I just commend you for trying this. Mocksville's been around a long, long time. It's been known for a couple of things, but it can be known for more, so.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Lee, did you have anything?
I would just say that, full disclosure, there were no pre-conversations on his comment. You have in your agenda packet, Mayor and Commissioners, Mocksville Education Building Guidelines. We've had some interest in the use of this facility. I've put that before you. I'm not asking that you have to vote on it tonight. I want to thank Lynn for her work in looking at surrounding communities and trying to come up with a proposal for that. So if it's okay with you all, we'll look at putting the guidelines for official consideration at your July meeting. So this will just give you a chance to look at it. You can talk to us during the month and ask questions or make suggestions. The second item is a letter that I received from NCDOT regarding their paving program for 25-26 year. I would ask if you know of DOT roads in the Mocksville area that need some attention, if you will send them to Town Hall. We'll try to consolidate all that and get that information to them by the end of July. So those are the two informational items that I had for you.
Thank you, Lee. Now, any communications from the board members? Jenny, did you have anything?
Just want to thank Lee and Ms. Lynn and everybody that worked on the budget. And congratulations for the week that we're gonna reserve for the Parks and Rec. Just thank everybody. Downtown Saturday was really nice. The event that they had downtown.
Having gone through 12 or 13 budget seasons, I can't remember how many now, the most seamless, the most transparent, the easiest to understand. Great job, Lee. Thank you, all the staff.
Same, ditto, outstanding budget, probably the best since I've been on board, really executed, and I think it's something we can be proud of. Downtown Saturday was rocking. If you all were not down here, the biggest crowd I believe I have ever seen in downtown. There was parking all the way everywhere. Everything we had was, and then some was loaded up. And before we go into closed session, just personally, give us 5 minutes, Mayor, to speak to all these good folks before we run them out for closed session.
Yeah, same thing. Thank you, Lynn, Lee, for the budget. It was very seamless. It was a very good budget.
Totally agree. Being here over you all. Thank you.
I'd just like to say thank you for Eric and for Irene coming tonight, making those presentations. It gives us a lot to think about. And I think our ultimate goal is to do what's best for our community. I think this is a good start. Al, thank you for being here tonight. Kelly, our registered deeds is here. Thank you for coming and being here tonight. And thank you for attending this meeting. We will need to go into a closed session to discuss real property. Can you?
I'll make that motion. We enter closed session pursuant to NCGS 143-318.11 to discuss the acquisition of real property.
We have a motion on the floor and a second from Jenny. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Need a motion to adjourn. Motion from Carl and a second from Justin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Thank you.